Welcome to LSB Feaster's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
WPLJ FM and HD1, New York, a Cuba station.
It's 95.5 PLJ Reunion Day. Bringing back all your favorite DJs from the past 48 years.
95.5 WPLJ New York.
It's 95.5 PLJ Reunion Day.
Here we go. It is Thursday night. My name is Mike Allen. We are going up until midnight. Reunion Day is not going to end. I can tell you that much. I got to tell you, I'm more nervous right now stepping in for Race in this microphone.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you, Joey.
I am very happy right now to sit down for the first time since 9 o'clock this morning and just be a guest.
I thought that I would be, nervous doing this whole thing, but Joey and Race, while everybody's in this room, we got to give it a nice round of applause. Let me tell you something. This is something that's going to go down in radio history, what you both just put on this radio for, I don't know, starting at 9 a.m. It's like 10 hours now, you guys.
It was
2 days ago.
9 a.m. Till 10 was rather awkward.
It was,
and then followed 10 to 11, slightly less awkward.
It was like your early teens.
We had to change, exactly.
We had to change our clothes in the 9 o'clock hour. Let's just say that.
You did change your clothes.
I did.
Yeah,
oddly
you
enough.
just step in here. You don't know what you're undertaking and what the expectations are, and everyone who came by today was magnificent, and there were some things that just worked out where we find the right song to come out of the right guest at the right moment. Where, at the very first of the show, when we played part of Pat St. John's Big Montage, which is an 18-minute piece, we're playing like only 4 minutes, and it goes by like that, and then you're thinking, could anyone understand what any of that was? Because in my headphones it sounded great, but that audio is more than 40 years old.
And Dan Kelly, who's our imaging and creative director, Pat St. John didn't have Pro Tools.
No,
Pat St. John.
That was a grease pencil and razor blades.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, the thought of doing that gives me anxiety. I can't. How do you label them and lay them all out? How do you do that? Crazy.
I mean, and we should also mention that we're all here right now, and it's 7 o'clock on Thursday night. We are certainly not done yet. We are going to sign this radio station off, and we're going to put the keys back in the hands of Race Taylor, and he's going to sign this radio station off with the way that he does everything with class. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be emotional, but we hope you could join us here right before 7 o'clock tomorrow, which will be Friday, May 31st on 95.5 PLJ. Coming up between now and midnight, we did tease it, and the phone lines are starting to ring. We are going to take phone calls probably after 8:30. So if you have a memory you'd like to share with us, with the alumni, or if you want to, people are calling them condolences, which makes me feel uncomfortable.
I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah, don't do that.
It feels like it, though.
We are going to open up the phone lines after 9:30, but we do have alumni still waiting in the wings, and names like Pat St. John are going to join us. Yes. We have Ralphie Aversa, who spent 5, 6, maybe 6
Ralphie!
years.
Did it feel like 10? Did it feel like a sentence?
What's that?
Did it feel like a sentence?
Yeah, basically. By the way, are we in Yankee Stadium right now? Oh my God, I've never in my life had this much reverb on my voice.
Well,
it's pretty awesome, isn't it?
We're usually not supposed to talk without a bed, so. But Ralphie, step away. We're not ready for you yet.
Okay, all right.
I believe on the phone right now we have a voice that many people know, and this is somebody that I was very excited to meet at the party over the last week, because I'm told that his stories are spectacular.
Legendary.
Oh, no.
This is Danny Myers.
Danny, we have to ask you one question. What are you doing right now?
So, yeah, I might have been able to join you guys earlier, but I had major surgery this morning.
Oh.
So I'm between Percocets right now, so I figured this was a good time to give you a call.
That's funny, because so are we. So this is perfect.
We found a drawer in the back that was Rocky's.
No, I had 2 hernias.
Oh, 2?
Holy smokes.
Yeah, bud. Yeah, so I was able to get them both meshed up around noontime today. The haze
fantastic.
cleared, and I got to wake up. I actually came out of my haze to the harp of Scott Shane.
Yes.
You thought you died.
Man,
What year is it?
Can you hear the smile on his face right now from that Percocet? Do you hear this?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Scott and I both passed away at the same time, drifting into heaven together. But guys, I really like this is huge. I mean, as a radio nerd and a radio fan, just listening to all of you guys coming together and telling all of the stories, it's absolutely ridiculous. And to bring down the mood for just a quick second, the thing I did want to say to anybody that was trying to make it, anybody listening that is listening to this and going, oh, these guys, they work so hard and, they must be so spectacularly talented like Race Taylor. When you are starting at WPLJ, if you're me, you almost throw up probably the first, what do you say, Joey, year that you're on the radio?
Yeah, maybe, give or take.
I have a pail next to me right now.
but the terror and the nerves that, you just fight through, and somehow you're able to, do something that means something to people. And, so anybody that's listening and maybe getting inspired by, these folks that have all, achieved very big things in their radio careers, just know that I think all of us, when we started at PLJ, were just scared S-less.
Oh,
so,
no question.
Sorry, I'm on oxycodone right now. Get the dump button ready just in case.
Yeah, it's our second to last day. We're good.
Well, if anyone, I know you quite well, so it doesn't surprise me that you have 2 hernias.
True, I'm an overachiever. Yeah.
So talk to us about how you started here. How did that all come down?
It was pretty crazy. I mean, like listening today, I was kind of hearing bits and pieces of my past, just listening to Naomi and listening to Scott and Todd. But I was 19 years old, junior in college, and radio fan, and called up on the request line to be part of the weekend blast off. And Louis Diaz was there that day too. And I came into the studio, and they were interviewing radio fans, and I talked on the microphone, and Scott said, "Man, you sound like a DJ." And I said, well, you know what? I'd like to be one. And so I sent a tape, something of a demo tape to Scott Shannon at the time. He sent a nice note back, and I don't know if it was intentional or if it wasn't some kind of a haze, but he sent it back on his personal stationery, like that went to his home address.
Oh.
So when I was, ready to
showed up at his front door
demo to the radio station, I sent it to Scott's home address. And I'll never forget when I got the call from everybody at PLJ that day. My wife, Trish, is so mad I got DJs mailing tapes to the house. and it got me an audition, or actually I think probably 3 before they decided that I didn't suck and they were going to put me on the radio. And that was the start of the adventure.
And for those keeping track at home, that's 45 Scott impressions today. And it is 7:12,
and one of the better ones, might I add.
Yeah.
45 impressions.
46.
So you started doing weekends here, and then you get bumped up to do the night show, and you get paired up with Onions from the Rocky Allen Show. Did we lose him?
I think that's Onions on the other line.
Danny might have passed out.
How can you be on without me?
Well, that was unfortunate. He's going to call back.
Of course he'll call back.
Right back.
And we're looking at the text message while Danny's calling back. The people are reacting to the idea of calling us and sharing a memory. Our phone number here is 800-321-WPLJ. That'll be after about 9 o'clock, 800-321-WPLJ. And back from his short comatose, here's Danny Myers, everybody.
Friend, I just need to say goodbye. I think in my drug haze, I just hung up the phone with my face. So I apologize.
We know you didn't stand up to hang it up.
I don't know where I left off, but I'll just tell you, thanks a lot, guys. And to those of you from the radio station that are losing your jobs after tomorrow, you're gonna land on your feet. You definitely will.
You're the best, man.
Thank you,
I
man.
wanted to go over your career doing nights here with Onions. That's where we
I
left
think
off.
Onions will handle that when he calls, right?
No, he doesn't want to tell the story. He doesn't want to tell the story. I think, at the time, you guys were thrown together. And I don't know if you felt this way. It was like, what are they thinking? But it was
a mess.
It was such a hot night show. It really was.
Yeah, I'm glad you felt that way because it was just. I think the idea that they had when Tom Cuddy and Scott thought, okay, we'll take somebody who's funny from the afternoon show, from the Rocky Allen show and Onions, and pair him with this guy that we think is a pretty good DJ that's doing weekends for us. That was the idea, and yeah, we had some fun. So, like I said, about several months before the on-air dry heaves cleared, and we had some fun. But yeah, no, they let us mess around at nights with no real plan for like 4 years.
Yeah, that's pretty unheard of.
That's how I feel tonight.
And before we let you go, though, I want you to tell a quick story, and it's one that we talked about a while ago when you guys would go to Caroline's. Because you guys had like carte blanche over there, and then wasn't it like a Christmas party or something, and you wound up on the dance floor with someone?
Oh yeah. Scott actually, he was really funny when he was keeping it real and being like, "Yeah, we got to meet a lot of musicians. They just wanted their records played."
Right.
Like I thought that was great.
Right.
But at the Saturday Night Live, the after party, the different cast members are coming off stage, and then there's an after party, and somehow because of our connections at PLJ. All of the DJs, we got invited to this after party, and it was the Christmas special that year. And so Rosie O'Donnell was hosting. Whitney Houston was the musical guest.
Wow.
So it was just this crazy episode to be able to watch in studio or in, at Rockefeller Center. And then afterwards going to the party, we're just hanging out, and Molly Shannon decided she had to dance. And again, I'm sure it had nothing to do with any kind of substances. I'm sure it had everything to do with the adrenaline of doing Saturday Night Live, right? Like it had to do with the adrenaline. So she was really, really wired and just dragged me out on the dance floor. And we danced for like 2 hours straight to a live band. And the rest of the cast was with us too. She made out with me a bunch. And again, I think it was just the adrenaline. It had nothing to do with my raw animal magnetism. It had everything to do with the fact she was celebrating the holidays and SNL. But yeah, that was one of many. You can't. That's the kind of stuff. It's like you don't dream that you could ever experience stuff like that.
Right.
But PLJ made it happen for us.
In real life, did she dance like Mary Catherine Gallagher?
Absolutely. Armpit sniffing and everything.
We're talking to Danny Myers. He did weekends here back in the 90s, and then he was on the air with Onions. It was the full-time show at night. How long were you guys on for?
I think we were 3.5 years.
How many years?
I think it was 3.5 years.
3.5 years, okay. So it felt like dog years, right?
On that. Yeah, the Star Ledger had an article with like the PLJ DJs, and I was nice enough to be mentioned as hosted a night show in the 90s. That was enough.
Well, they gave you something.
Yeah, but it was just a real thrill, really amazing time.
Listen, you had a mention in the newspaper, and it beats sitting home icing your groin, which is what you're doing right now. So
yeah, man, I do. I got to get back on that ice.
Well, listen, we know you do mornings down there. Where are you, in Roanoke? Is that what's going on now?
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach,
Norfolk, Virginia Beach.
Okay, so you got to do a morning show, so we got to let you go. And Nelson,
that dog.
And Nelson.
Thought we just popped some mesh there for a second. That staple was no good. I'm sorry, Doc. That staple wouldn't hold.
Oh, man. Danny Myers, we love you.
Danny.
Feel better, brother.
Thanks, man.
We'll talk to you.
This is 95.5 PLJ. It is the reunion show. We are here until midnight. My name is Mike Allen. Joey Kramer is here. We got Race Taylor, Handsome Matt, Dan Kelly. And if you know what's going down, this song means a lot. It's Creed with Arms Wide Open.
Well, I just heard with arms
It's 95.5 PLJ Reunion Day.
My name is Mike Allen. We are here high above Madison Square Garden at 2 Penn Plaza for about, 23 hours
and 39 minutes.
39 minutes.
God, I'm so good at math.
I do radio. I'm not. Race, thank you. We have everybody here. Race Taylor, Joey Kramer. Matt Susich is here. Who else do I see? Ralphie, who will be coming up very shortly as we pay tribute to some of the greats that cracked this microphone for the last 48 years. A very emotional day here, as tomorrow will be as well. But it's an exciting time, too, because it's not often that you get to see some of these people. You know, obviously time is it's different now with social media, so it's great that you get to say that you're friends with Jim Kerr on Facebook and you connect. But to actually see him and get to know him over the last few weeks has been a thrill for me, along with all the other jocks too who have been on this radio station. So for a guy who grew up in Westchester County, and my dream to always be on this radio station, 95.5 PLJ, this last month or so has really been a whirlwind, because I think it won't really hit me until next Wednesday. I'm saying it's going to be next Wednesday, because Saturday we're all going to be extremely hungover and it's going to be a slow developing day. Sunday is going to be great, spending time with family. Monday, Tuesday, kind of seeing, I think I can get used to this. This is like retirement. But then Wednesday, the wife goes to work. My son's in daycare. I'm going to be like, what do I do now?
Judge Judy.
That's right. Golf.
Man,
Golf and
the golf starts
television.
tomorrow.
Right.
But it's just been a thrill for me, and I'm reading some of these text messages, and I'll say, hey guys, thanks for an amazing trip down memory lane today. Race and Joey, you put together a fantastic day all day long. Mike, not forgetting about you. You did a great job as well. I'll always remember PLJ and be thankful for what you've given us over the years. Fingers crossed that we get to hear all of you on these airwaves sooner rather than later. Our text is at 95955. We are looking at it. Believe me, there's a lot of text messages here. If we're not replying, it does not mean we didn't see it.
We see them. We see everything, but it's just so hard. Today was such a whirlwind, and so many people coming in, one after the next, and so many big names, and we're trying to stay on social and trying to reply to people, and it's been impossible.
If I could tell a Brad Blank story, because he was here today, and I don't know if I'll have time for this story for tomorrow, but for many years, Scott and Todd did a charity golf tournament to benefit a hospital. And Brad, being from Australia, big on cricket, big on Australian beer, shrimp on the bobby, running in street shoes, not so big on golf. So they start to create a bet that Brad is going to play this par 5, and that it's going to probably take him 12, 13 strokes to get the ball from the tee to the hole. And this goes on for several weeks. They're building up to this. Brad and I are on the golf course at the same time. We're waiting to start the tournament. The grounds crew is on the hole that we're supposed to play, and the guy that's running the course will not allow us on that hole. So we're just like, they're never going to know. Let's just say we're on that hole. We'll play the first hole. All right? We're going to make it up. You just hit the ball, and then you hit it again, and we'll drop one. We'll make the sounds. We're going to fabricate this because we can't get on the proper hole. Brad Blanks tees off and stripes a ball like 210 yards down the middle. And he's more than halfway there. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I've been to the range. I've been to the range a few times. I mean, he was playing golf as if he came out of the Australian tour. And I'm like, I got to try to make this up, because they're saying it could take 12, 13, 39 hole. I mean, it was unbelievable. He hits his second ball. And there's a small crowd of people around us, and I'm thinking, that's all right. I can still fudge this a little bit. We'll make it happen. And they're giving him grief in the studio, and we're in the middle of New Jersey. He takes his second shot from about 200 yards out, and it's on the green, within like 12 feet of the hole, simply. And people are cheering in the background, going, "That's a magnificent shot!" And I'm like, I can't make this up anymore. I can't say we're not on the 600-yard hole, that we're on the 380-yard hole that Brad is now on in 2 strokes, when they're like, there's big money, and Joe Nolan's thrown down a hundo, and it's going to be 13 strokes. The cat's out of the bag. And everyone is livid now, because they have built to this moment of Brad playing golf for several weeks.
They're like, Brad, you're not supposed to be good at this.
We do the apology. everybody knows now that we were not on the hole that they said that was much harder. Brad takes 2 putts and sinks the ball for a perfect par on a much smaller, more difficult hole, but we thought for sure that next morning we were done. I've never felt more close to being fired in my entire life.
Oh, man.
Because nobody was happy with what happened.
Hey, Race, why'd you get fired?
Well, Brad Blanks turned out to be good at golf.
That's it, exactly.
I remember that story. And it was like
unreal.
A lot of fallout going on. I felt terrible for you.
I sent the guys complimentary golf gloves, and they had divot fixers and everything I could possibly send them to try to get back in their good graces, because we're not good liars. That's all there is to
that
it.
a divot fixer?
That's number 48.
Who's got the Scott Shannon impression?
Where's the Scott Shannon bell?
Oh, we need that.
This is the reunion show on 95.5 PLJ. We welcomed everybody back into the studio all day long, starting at 9 o'clock. You can check it out on social, too, at 95.5 PLJ. Now, I'm certainly not doing my goodbye, and Race has been gracious enough to let me into the studio tomorrow to say a goodbye. It is Mike Allen here on PLJ. But the one great thing about this radio station that I've never felt anywhere else that I've worked was the love and the support from the listeners. And I think that comes from what I said earlier with the social media. And I think Race knows where I'm going with this, because there is certain relationships you make with listeners where you end up getting Christmas cards around the holidays and well wishes when they know you or your wife maybe be feeling under the weather. But yesterday, Race and I received a unbelievable package from the Muller family. They are out in Huntington Station, I believe.
Yeah.
And they sent, 4 pounds of cannolis and cookies and rainbow.
They're not here anymore.
They was like an hour and they were gone. I sent her a note on Twitter, and of course I wanted to thank her. And I hope she calls after 9 o'clock. I told her that I hope her and her family, Samantha and Bill, her daughter, who was they were sending us Christmas cards. Her daughter was like a newborn.
Oh, absolutely.
I think she's in middle school. But we're so excited to speak to her. But she is probably the world's biggest Train fan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And Race yesterday played a song for Train, by Train, I should say. And Tara went crazy on Twitter, just so excited because she thought it was going to be the last time she would hear Train. But since we get to kind of go back and down memory lane, my first shift here was April 16th, 2013, where I think Tony Rome is in here somewhere. Tony's outside. He was here shadowing me, and we'll talk about that a little bit more because I can't wait to get Tony back on the air. But this song was brand new. It's Train, and this is Mermaid. It's reunion day here at New York's 95.5 PLJ. This is for the Muller family in Long Island.
It's 95.5 PLJ Reunion Day.
Yeah, it is 95.5 PLJ. My name is Mike Allen. We are here until midnight talking to some of PLJ greats. We've had everybody from Jim Kerr to Scott Shannon. Did you hear the reunion with Scott and Todd? Once in a lifetime. How cool is that?
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Man, that was actually a surprise. It was not only a surprise for the listener, but it was a surprise for you and I. And we put a lot of work into this thing.
Exactly, yes. They pulled the rug out from under us. It's like we worked on this for months, and we didn't know that was going to happen. So, and that's radio for you.
I mean, when they said Todd is here, I was running the board for Scott this morning or this afternoon, and I didn't even know if it was the right pot. I put the fader up that said Todd, and then it was like a pause. I was like, I don't know if he's going to be there or not. Yeah. But
that's pretty awesome.
The cool thing about my part of this radio station is before I got here, I knew that all I wanted to do was work here, and I was lucky enough to get a tour. It was 2010, I want to say. I came up here for a tour, did a little morning show boot camp, and I met Scott, I met Race, I met some of the programming staff as well. And then we got escorted into the studio to meet the midday guy. His name was Jeff Miles, and he is on the line right now. Jeff is here with Race, Joey, and Mike. How are you?
Jeff!
Good. How are you guys doing?
What's up, buddy?
I mean, it's crazy. I've been listening to you guys for the past few hours, and just hearing everybody. Man, this is an emotional day.
It has been. It's been a tough day. It has been a great day, but tough. We got together for, to send this radio station off, but it's kind of like the reason why we're getting together we don't like. But to have everybody back and to feel the love in the room and how we're all connected to all of the DJs from Jim Kerr to Scott and everybody in between has been just incredible. And you're part of that group, man.
Well, I appreciate it, and the funniest thing is listening to everybody in their Scott impersonations because I think we all have them.
What are you talking about?
You could be number 49, Jeff.
40, 49. So here it comes. Because I love hearing the stories of everybody and kind of how they ended up coming to New York, and if they're not from New York, but ending up at PLJ. And it's funny. I'm actually in Dallas now, but I was in Dallas when I got the call from Scott Shannon. And, of course, he, opens up with the typical line of, "Is this the world famous Jeff Miles?" And then he says, "I'm a DJ on WPLJ in New York City. My name is Scott Shannon.
I used to work here. Now
I'm one of the DJs there."
But, yeah, it's been so much fun listening to everybody. You know, I heard you guys talking about the listeners a second ago, and I'll tell you, I don't think I've worked anywhere I've worked all over the country, and I have not worked anywhere that has listeners and that make you feel like a family as much as those in the tri-state do. I mean, I still talk to them on a daily basis. It seems like there was a group that while I was doing middays there that they coined the phrase. They called themselves the Class.
Oh yes,
and
the Class.
Big shout out to them because I know they're listening right now, and I know that they're, very emotional about this, everything that's happening right now.
It is amazing to hear your voice after all these years. We've watched your family grow. We've watched you move from here to Atlanta to Texas. And how's everybody?
Everybody's good. You know, it's funny because we love telling my daughter. My daughter was born in right there in Jersey, and her first sight was looking across the river into Manhattan, and so that's one of her. That's one of the things that she doesn't remember it, but we give her that memory, and she calls it her own now. But one of the craziest things is when my wife was pregnant. I mean, it was happening on a daily basis. I mean, listeners were just sending in all of this stuff. Well, one day I get this diaper cake. And if you're not familiar with what it is, you got to Google it because it's this giant, it looks like a 4-tiered cake. And I'm leaving the station with it one day, and as I'm crossing 8th Avenue right there at 32nd, I think it was, this diaper cake comes unraveled, and it's all over the middle of the intersection there. So many great memories there.
That is hilarious. It was almost as if you were feeding the city.
Exactly. I may have been cleaning the city at the same time.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But yeah, the listeners there, and it's funny because as I listen to everybody tell their stories, I feel like I'm getting almost this inside feel of what PLJ was like, even during the times before I was there, and even the times after I left.
The history that we've been able to witness today has been absolutely amazing, and you are a part of the fabric of this radio station and where it's gone through the last 48 years, and we are grateful for that. So thank you so much for checking in, man.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it, and man, you guys are doing a hell of a job today. And you know what? I do want to give a big shout out to Scott because Scott has been instrumental in my career even after I've left there. I mean, I'm now doing a morning show here in Dallas, and he was pretty instrumental in that as well. So big shout out to Scott. He's been awesome through the years as well. So
it's always amazing when you have someone like that in your corner, man. We are all grateful.
It really is.
We are grateful for that and more. Jeff Miles, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Jeff.
You guys, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of you guys. Enjoy the rest of your time. I know it's going to be an emotional one, but man, it's fun listening to the memories, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
This is Reunion Day on 95.5 PLJ. You got Race Taylor, Joey Kramer, Mike Allen, Dan Kelly. Who else?
Wow, roll call.
Marianne.
Marianne is here.
Yeah. Marianne,
get on here.
And you're wearing headphones. Step on over to the microphone.
Give her a microphone.
And tell me what we need to change on the commercial law.
Yeah, right.
I just want to let you know we've played no commercials today.
I know this.
I'd be so mad about that too.
I've
Not
signed
my
the log, though.
problem
We're
anymore.
good.
Oh, that's right.
So tell everybody, I know you're going to do something on air tomorrow, as you deserve for this sign-off, but for those who don't know, the support staff here at 95.5 PLJ is like none other. The reason I say that is because there are some people here with longevity that you would never believe, including the young lady speaking to us right now, Miss Marianne McNerney.
I'm not speaking, though. I don't have anything to say.
Well, here's the thing.
No, you are going to tell us right now about your letter to Larry Berger and his response.
Okay. In 1975, I wrote a letter to Larry complaining about the music. Let's be honest. Handwritten.
I get those a lot.
Right?
And he wrote me back.
Is this the letter that you're unfolding right now? Oh, come on.
Wow.
That is don't crumple. That is precious. Don't
rip
crumple
it.
it. Okay, all right, then fine. Go.
Ray wouldn't let me bring in the original.
Okay, all right.
And the best part says, "Dear Ms. Bucci." Anyway.
Do you know her?
She's a vague memory.
It's a radio name, I think. That's a radio name, Ms. Bucci.
Okay. So PLJ does not produce the music, nor do we set the trends. We see it as our responsibility to reflect the taste of our potential listening audience, which includes almost 8 million people between the ages of 12 and 34 in the New York area. We hope this explains, at least in part, the WPLJ programming philosophy. Signed, Larry Berger. But the thing is, I brought this into St. Dominic Academy in Jersey City and showed my homeroom, and the girls just laughed at me when I said, I'm going to work there someday. And they said, how are you going to get a job at a New York radio station? And it was because I wanted to. I did it, and I didn't have a plan back then. But thanks to Ellen Jerome and the research call-out department, I was able to start, and that was my luck. But then after that, it was just the help and support of everybody around me and hard work. And it's been fantastic ever since, even through Thanksgiving weekend. It's just been so
you mean
wonderful.
the weekends when you need to churn out 4 commercial logs in 14 hours?
You mean the weekends when I'm seeing Marianne walk into the studio around this time, and I know not even to say a word to her because I can't even imagine what she's gone through.
It's been a long day.
Well, she's not allowed to look at you, so it's fine.
I couldn't talk to them.
You should tell that story quickly.
When I was an intern, I was told not to talk to the disc jockeys unless I was spoken to.
Really?
Did you talk to them today?
If
they addressed you, oh my God.
Hey, 13 years of Catholic school.
Yeah, that's true.
Rules are ingrained.
That's true. There is a ruler outside.
That's true.
I don't want you to start crying because I know tomorrow's going to be a very emotional day. But you said something on Facebook. There's been a lot of posts and a lot of tribute posts. And Marianne, it rarely ever posts on somebody's post that I see publicly at least. But you said something great about giving thanks to one very special person who makes your life easier, your job easier, and it's certainly before we sign this radio station off, it cannot go unsaid.
My husband Ray, whose birthday is actually tomorrow.
Oh wow!
He never complained when I worked late. If he had to pick up Sean, our son, at daycare, before 7 o'clock or whenever it closed, he always would have dinner on the table. And without that support, because a lot of people don't get that support, my success at PLJ is just as much his success.
Yes.
Amen. And thank you.
Absolutely.
And happy birthday, Ray.
Happy birthday, Ray. Listen, I like to refer to that as your lucky Larry Berger letter. And if by chance you still have that typewriter, we might need to craft a few letters here in the next few days. So is that do you have pica size 12 maybe? Because that's what I'm looking for. They don't wear glasses like they used to. So
thank you.
That is awesome.
Somebody very special who makes the 17th floor here above 2 Penn Plaza, above Madison Square Garden, Marianne McNerney.
Marianne! Come on.
The best.
I know we have a long list of people trying to get on here. Alumni Day continuing, so we are going to reset right now. This is 95.5 PLJ with some music, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. We are not done. 12 o'clock.
Oh.
We're going to midnight here. It is Reunion Day at New York's 95.5 WPLJ.
I promise that you'll never find another like me. Don't stop believing.
It was the decade of big hair. And this song was playing on 95.5 PLJ.
Well, it was a lot going on. It was the decade of decadence.
We're not going to go into a song, right? We're going to break programming.
I mean, why not?
We have a guy checking in on the phone.
Unbelievable.
Who used to be here on the air. Can we bring up Kenny Walker? Kenny Walker.
What's up, everybody? I've been listening all day.
Have you?
Does anybody do interviews better than Race Taylor?
Right?
Honest
Oh, my
God.
God.
Did he not kill it today?
No, and you're juggling phone calls and interviews and live, and you know what? That's part of the magic of PLJ. You're talking about the most amazing radio talent on the planet, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm just amazed. You guys are amazing.
Thank you so much, man. You are checking in from Florida, right?
Yeah, I'm here in Miami. I do a morning show in Miami, but none of my life would have been possible without having the diploma from the University of PLJ.
Oh, yeah.
We got a chance to work together in the studio years ago. You're one of the guys I learned from here at this radio station, stacking carts and running out to get you a sandwich. And, there was a luxury for the DJs back then because you had a phone op and we would answer the request lines. And Kenny was just one of the greats. And really, what a true talent. I'm sorry if I'm kind of embarrassing you here.
No, take your time here.
Keep going. So you're doing a morning show. You're doing a morning show in Florida.
But well, it's down here in Miami. It just, you know what? But my heart will always be at PLJ, and maybe you guys can relate to this. The first time you walk in, it's overwhelming. It's PLJ, and I grew up in Connecticut, having listened to it, and what I found was, you're walking the hallways. And if it's not the celebrity jocks, the Scott Shannons and Todd Pettingills and Rocky Allens and Fast Jimmy and Kim Ashley, and of course Race Taylor, but it's everybody, you would think that all these superstar DJs would have attitudes. Everybody's humble and helpful and authentic. And I think what made the place so special was all those jocks, all those years helping little guys like me, a young guy from Connecticut starting out. It was overwhelming the whole time. And then you guys can probably identify. It seems like every day you're walking down the hallways and in the office, there's a celebrity. If it wasn't Tom Petty, if it wasn't Bruce, if it wasn't, John Bon Jovi sitting in Mitch Dolan or Tom Cuddy's office or Mick Jagger, it was like an everyday thing. I mean, am I right?
Yeah, we were just talking about that before. Dave Stewart was here, and he harkened back to a day where he was on the air, and all of a sudden the studio door blows open, and it's James Earl Jones. And
I heard that story.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything to Dave. He just looks to the left, he looks to the right, and he walks back out. and you just never know who's going to come up here. I mean, it's the mighty PLJ. And to walk around these hallways and the history with the DJs and the celebrities that come by, too, just pretty incredible.
I remember one time, a friend of mine I was a DJ in Hartford, and he called and said, hey, Elton John's in concert here. You want to go? We've got some backstage, meet and greet and meet him. And I said, yeah. And at the time, we were in ratings, blah, blah, blah. They wouldn't, we were a little too busy. They said, you can't take the time off. A few days later, I'm knocking out a commercial in one of the production studios, and Tom Cuddy, our vice president of programming, just said, hey, you got a minute? And then we're taking the elevator down and walking over to Madison Square Garden. I was really paying attention, and next thing I know, a door opens up, and there's Elton John.
Oh my goodness!
And I swear to God. And Tom says, here's Elton, and I'll see you guys in a little while. So Elton, I said, I know I missed you in Hartford. Tom had told me that, he felt bad that he couldn't give you the time. So I'm sitting here for 25 minutes backstage at the Garden talking to Elton John.
Incredible.
But that's just part and parcel of that whole 5-year experience. It was amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
And of course, Mr. Tom Cuddy loved all of that stuff. If he could make you happy, or he knew you had a favorite artist or a sports team, he wanted to get you those tickets because he was just the best.
Right. And the listeners, New York is a radio city. And if you're listening now and PLJ has ever touched you in any way in your life as a listener, maybe you're a kid, maybe you're adult, maybe you're kids, maybe whatever your situation, socioeconomic, you're lucky. You're really lucky to have experienced that pure, radio magic that's PLJ, and we're all going to miss it. And part of it is guys like you, man. Look at you doing this amazing goodbye stuff. I know it's a lot of work. It's a labor of love, but it's appreciated. It really is.
Thank you for saying that. It has been an enormous undertaking, but a station this big, this iconic, it needed this. And we had to give it to the listeners, and it is all about the listeners, because without them, I had posted something to social media a couple of weeks ago, without the listeners, we can't do this. We need them and their participation, and it just doesn't work without the listeners.
Well, radio's a funny thing. It's so intimate. You're talking to millions of people, but you're doing it one at a time. And even today, listening to the show, I'm down here, I'm running around, and I got 3 kids, and I'm listening, and it's as if you guys are just talking to me, as if I'm the only guy on the planet. And that's the beauty and the magic of radio, and especially PLJ. Nobody did radio all these years like PLJ. The best they made some mistakes. They hired idiots like me from time to time. But beyond that, most of the talent, it's incredible. Today, I just want to thank you guys for squeezing in a little guy like me on here among all the giants. It was just a great experience, and that you guys have worked so hard to put this show on and give PLJ its justice. I've had a smile all day long. It's been magical.
That's awesome. And you just mentioned you have 3 kids. Now, when I last saw you, there were no kids, and I think you were just heading down to Florida. Right. So I could see on social media the family is growing, and it looks like everyone's doing well.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It's funny how your life, you can't really, it takes you where it's going to take you, and you can't plan these things. But had it not been for PLJ, that really put so many things into motion. And I ended up, I married a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
Yes, you did. You lucky dog, you.
And it's her birthday today, so say happy birthday to my wife, will you guys?
Oh, happy birthday, wife.
Happy birthday.
That's awesome. Listen.
She just got a PLJ birthday wish, and it didn't cost me a dime. I love it.
We'll bill you later.
Listen, I know you have a morning show to do tomorrow, so we don't want to keep you up any later than we have to. But Kenny Walker, we love you. We thank you for checking in, and we miss you.
Miss you guys, too. Thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate it. Joey, Race, all superstars. What you're doing today is fantastic. And to all those listeners, thank you for all the love. Like I said, PLJ, just say those 3 letters, and it is radio magic. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thanks, man.
See you, buddy.
This is Reunion Day on 95.5 PLJ, WPLJ HD1. It is a Cumulus station, New York, New York. And we have Race Taylor here. We have Joey Kramer. And why wouldn't we have some sort of technical difficulty here on our last 24 hours?
It's only fitting, right?
So what we're going to do is what every DJ did in the 70s. If they had to use the restroom or go down for a smoke, or if your computers aren't working, you played one song, and I'm going to give the respect to Mr. Race Taylor to talk this one up.
Oh my God, what's going on? It's Race. Thanks so much for listening. I am by no means even close to standing in the shoes of Carol Miller, who would do this down the dial. But I'll just say, it's almost time to get the let out on New York's best rock. 95.5 PLJ. Ooh.